You've been told saving money is the key to building wealth. But what if saving is actually holding you back? Because the wealthy don't just save, they invest, automate, and grow their income. And that's how they win. Hello, I'm Jonathan, co-founder of Pen Portfolio. My wife and I went from six-figure debt to building $1 million net worth. And if you've been trying to save money, cutting out Starbucks, downloading all the budgeting apps, and constantly feeling guilty, but you still feel stuck, you're not alone. You see, most people make the same mistake. I made it too. When my wife and I were buried under $250,000 in debt, we thought saving as much as possible was the answer. But no matter how much we cut back, it never felt like enough. The game changed when we realized saving won't build wealth, investing will. And today, I'm breaking down the 5 steps to actually build wealth, even if you're starting from scratch. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make your money work for you instead of working for your money. Growing up, we're all taught the same thing. Save your money, be responsible. And while that advice comes from a good place, it's only half the story. I used to think that if I just saved enough, skipped the lattes, trimmed every bill, and stayed underneath budget, I'd eventually become financially secure. But here's the hard truth. I had to learn that saving alone isn't going to build real wealth. If you save $1,000 a month for 30 years in a regular bank account, you'll end up with around $383,000. Now that sounds like a lot until you factor in inflation, rising living costs, and taxes. Suddenly that number doesn't go as far as you'd hope for. But when I started learning about investing, everything changed. If you took that same $1,000 and invested in the stock market, averaging around 7% annual returns after inflation, you'll end up with over $1.2 million. That's not a minor difference. That's the gap between barely scraping by in retirement and reaching financial independence years earlier on. As a husband and a father and a personal finance expert, I realized that true wealth isn't built by just saving what's left. It's built by putting your money to work. So if there's one message I want you to take away today, it's this. Saving is a good habit, yes, but investing is what makes you rich. So let's talk about something people don't realize until it's too late. Inflation is silently stealing your money. I used to feel pretty good seeing a chunk of cash sitting in our savings account. It felt safe, like I was being responsible. But the truth is, every dollar sitting there was slowly losing value. In 2024, inflation was around 2.9%. And most traditional savings accounts, like the one I had at a big name bank, were offering a pathetic 0.41% in interest. That means if you had $100,000 in savings, your bank would give you a whopping $410 interest for the year, while inflation silently erased over $2,000 of your purchasing power. It's like gaining $1 and losing $7 at the same time. And most people don't even realize that's happening because it's silently happening in your bank account. As a husband and dad trying to protect my family's future, I had to ask myself, is my money really safe if it's shrinking in value every year? Keeping money in a savings account is useful for short-term goals or an emergency fund. But beyond that, you're just letting inflation win. The hard truth is this. Your savings account might feel secure, but it's actually costing you more in the long run. My advice? Keep what you need for emergencies, but don't let the rest just sit there and collect dust. You got to move into something that grows faster than inflation, like investments that actually build real wealth. One of the biggest reasons people avoid investing is because they think it's complicated. Or worse, they need some guy in a suit on Wall Street to manage everything for them. I used to think that too. I assumed investing required a finance degree or a family friend with connections at some fancy firm. But here's the reality most people don't talk about. A lot of traditional financial advisors charge 1% of your entire portfolio every year. That might not sound like a lot, but over your lifetime, that fee can add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars taken out of your investments and put into theirs. and all for something you could have often done yourself with a little guidance and the right tools. Now, don't get me wrong. There are situations where working with a professional can make sense. When we had a big jump in income, I actually hired a flat fee planner from a firm that helped me strategize around taxes and investments. But for most people, just starting out, you don't need to wait for some expert to give you permission to start building wealth. You can open a basic investment account online, automate your contributions, and grow your money without getting stuck paying high fees. And I'll walk you through exactly how to do that in just a minute. When I first started learning how to invest, I was overwhelmed. I didn't know the difference between a mutual fund and an index fund, let alone how to open an account. But once I stripped away the noise, I realized it's not as complicated as people make it out to be. If you're starting from scratch, the most important thing is to just get started, even if it's not perfect. One of the best places to begin is with your 401k, especially if your employer offers a match. That's free money, literally. I used to think I couldn't afford to contribute, but once I saw how quickly that match added up, I knew I couldn't afford not to. If you don't have access to a 401k or want to build even more wealth, open a Roth IRA. It's one of my favorite investing tools because your money grows tax-free, and you keep every penny of the gains. Once the account is open, don't overthink what to invest in. A target date fund is a great option because it adjusts automatically based on your age and retirement timeline. And to set it and forget it, you don't need to be an expert or pick the perfect stock. Just opening a couple of accounts and making consistent contributions puts you ahead of 99% of people who are sitting on the sidelines. One of the biggest mindset shifts I had on my wealth building journey was realizing that rich people aren't more disciplined than everyone else. They're just more automated. They don't sit around each month trying to remember when to invest or manually moving money around. They set it once and it happens like clockwork. When I finally started doing the same thing, automating transfers into our 401k and Roth IRA, it completely removed the guesswork and the temptation to skip a month. As a husband, a dad, and someone juggling a business, the last thing I needed was another mental task. Automation made building wealth effortless. Here's the key. Don't rely on willpower. Willpower fades. Systems last. Log into your accounts and schedule automatic transfers from your paycheck or checking account straight into your investment account. Then go one step further and automate those investments into something simple and diversified, like a target date investment fund. That single decision can quietly build you 6 or even 7 figures over the next few decades. The earlier you automate, the less you have to think about it. And the more your money works while you're busy living your life. Set up once and let time do the heavy lifting. So let's be real. How many more $4 coffees can you cut before it starts to feel like you're just punishing yourself? Yes, budgeting is important, but there's a limit to how much you can cut, and at some point, the returns get smaller and smaller. That's the trap I fell into for years. I would agonize over $12 charges on our bank statements, beat myself up for spending a little extra, and feeling like we were still getting nowhere. Then I realized something that changed everything. Your income has no ceiling. I stopped fixating on saving pennies and started focusing on how to earn dollars. That shift is what helped me go from paycheck to paycheck stress to running a business, investing consistently, and building real financial momentum. So if you really want to accelerate your path to wealth, don't just trim the fat, grow the pie. I started looking at every new skill or opportunity as a way to increase our earning potential, not just survive on less. Whether it was negotiating for a raise at work, launching a side hustle on the weekends, or learning skills like marketing and sales, it helped me grow. The more I leaned in, the more options we had as a family. The truth is, you can only cut so much, but you can earn as much as you're willing to learn and pursue. So if you want to unlock your financial future, shift your focus from scarcity to opportunity. That's the mindset shift that changed my life, and it changed yours too. So here's the truth. Saving is just the beginning, not the end goal. If you want to build real wealth, you need to go beyond just cutting expenses. You need to invest your money so it grows. Protect it from inflation. Automate your financial system. And most importantly, focus on increasing your income. That's the exact framework my wife and I use to go from drowning in debt to building a $1 million net worth in our 30s. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about building smart habits one step at a time. And if this video helped you shift your mindset or gave you a practical next step, do me a favor, please. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And share it with someone who's trying to take control of their money too. And if you're ready to take your money to the next level, check out the next video. Hopefully the algorithm has got it right. Remember, your financial breakthrough might just be one decision away. See you later.